There's a Souls-like out there that no one is talking about, and yet it might be the single best game I've touched in the entire genre. Not Sekiro, not Lies of P, I'm talking about Khazan, the First Berserker Khazan. And if you've never heard of it, that's exactly the problem. Why do I love Khazan? Because this isn't just another Souls-like, it's the game that made me rethink what perfection in this genre could actually look like. Now I'll warn you, a lot of Souls-like fans won't be comfortable with this game, and that's the point. Khazan forces you to learn, to adapt, and to master mechanics in a way most other games in the genre simply don't. And that's why I've had more fun with it than any Souls-like I've ever played. I've beaten Khazan twice now, once with dual wield on expert and once with spear on hardcore, at level 1, and in both I beat every boss hitless. And today I want to break down why this game has been the most rewarding experience I've had in the entire genre. Don't worry, this video is story spoiler free, though I'll touch on a few boss mechanics along the way. Let's get into it. Khazan has what I would call the strongest lineup of bosses in any Souls-like, and I don't say that lightly. I don't think there's a single weak boss here. Most Souls-likes make you feel powerful. Khazan makes you feel small. Many bosses feel like these big insurmountable tasks, but you quickly learn and improve your playstyle of the game. Maluka, Shaktuka, Viper, Scalpel, and the final boss, all of them are 10 out of 10 fights in my book. Even Traka, a boss that most players overlook, is criminally underrated and a personal 10 out of 10. What separates Khazan's bosses is their flow and design philosophy. Just to take one example, Scalpel's phase transition is absolutely phenomenal. He pulls you in and uses an 8-hit combo, forms a Sword of Blood for 2 massive strikes, and then finishes with a 3-hit coffin combo. It's visually insane, mechanically demanding, and one of the hardest, but most satisfying, phase transitions I've ever learned. Even the early bosses surprise you. Viper starts off tough but manageable, so tough in fact that I was surprised to find a second health bar. He completely changes the arena for the second phase, plunging it into darkness, leaving only lightning flashes and the eerie glow of his eyes. It's the third boss in the game, but it feels like it should be the final one. What's wild is that Khazan never falls into the traps so many Souls-likes do. No cheap gank fights, no filler bosses. Every encounter is handcrafted with long, rewarding combos that are fun to learn and satisfying to master. Now some players complain that the bosses have bloated health pools, but honestly, I think that's the point. Khazan doesn't let you cheese your way through by over-leveling or stacking items. The health pools are tuned so you can't brute force your way forward, and you have to actually master the fight. When you do, it's exhilarating. Despite having a lot of Souls-like elements such as amazing bosses, heals, bonfires, and dodging and parrying, it's important to understand that this game is very different from regular Souls-like games. The game is more like an extremely hard JRPG than a Souls-like, and it's important to understand the distinction. I've always described the game as a mix of my 2 previous favorite games, Lies of P and Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, with a strong emphasis on the latter. While the Souls series are by definition Japanese role-playing games, it is extremely different from regular JRPGs in many ways. In the reverse direction, Khazan is made by Nexon, a South Korean company, by definition not a Japanese role-playing game. However, many of Khazan's differences to the Dark Souls series are blatant and important. The most important of these differences can be broken into 3 parts: gear, progression, and combos. Gear is extremely important in this game, and there are a lot of moving parts for each piece of gear. Gear rarity, set bonuses, random attributes, gear level, fixed attributes, weight, and defense. However, you don't have to interact with all of these. You can just beat the game by equipping your highest rarity gear, which has the highest level, and you will be able to reasonably beat all the bosses. But these all add nuance to the game and are all ways to improve your build. Oftentimes, there are ways to problem solve your build, and you're not meant to brute force a boss like in most Souls games. You can find new gear, upgrade your gear, and create new set bonuses. You can also farm previous bosses for their gear or more levels. Gear plays an extremely important role in the game, and it's impossible to ignore. If anything, my level 1 hardcore playthrough should showcase the importance of gear. Something my level 1 playthrough also showcases is the game's progression difference compared to Souls games. Levels are not very important in this game. Most of your levels should be put into vitality and stamina, especially since heals scale off your max health. But damage is much more affected by your build quality and combos. Farming bosses for levels, as I mentioned earlier, is not very effective to become stronger. The game is complex and sometimes unforgiving. The game will be very difficult if you try to treat this as a Souls-like, where all you have to do is progress the areas, fight the bosses, and level up. But this is a part of the game that I love, taking the time to improve my build, updating armor parts, and seeing huge boosts in power while still having bosses provide a challenge. All of these factors makes this game my all-time favorite. And lastly, we have to talk about combos. The thing that truly sets Khazan apart from other Souls-likes are the combos you have to learn for yourself. Khazan isn't just about mastering the bosses, it's about mastering yourself. Each weapon type feels completely different. Dual wields reward fast, consistent pressure, greatswords hit hard but have small punish windows, and spears are about control, chaining staggers and locking bosses into your combos. It's extremely important to learn combos and when to use them. Using dual wield and spear, I was able to discover 2 different infinite combos that would last until your stamina was depleted. These do a ridiculous amount of damage to bosses under the right circumstances. There's other combos as well, which are important to use under different situations. The infinite combos are typically good at deleting boss stamina but are ineffective at doing damage, so when bosses are staggered, it's better to do different combos. For example, spear has some skills which are particularly effective at range, such as Eagle Wind. Greatswords, however, can power through most boss attacks to do powerful attacks themselves. Every weapon and combo is different, making for completely different builds and various playstyles. The game isn't just about memorizing enemy attack patterns. It's about creating your own combos, learning how your weapon interacts with the boss, and discovering playstyles that make each run feel new. I won't be showing footage of this boss for spoiler purposes, but my first run with dual wield made a specific boss an absolute nightmare. They kept blocking my fast dual wield attacks and powering their weapon up, using stronger moves with large area denial. But on my spear run, I could redirect them into exposing their back, and suddenly they felt like a completely different fight. Then there's the set bonuses, and this is where Khazan shines. On my dual wield playthrough, I switched between the Bloodthirsty Fiend set and the Soul Eater set depending on the fight. Bloodthirsty Fiend was perfect for stun locking bosses like Reese, while Soul Eater let me extend staggers long enough to basically erase Hismar in one cycle. What's amazing is that each weapon, each set, each skill, and each build creates a new way to play the game. You don't just get one experience with Khazan, you get dozens, and each replay teaches you something new. Then there's the art direction. On hardcore, Khazan removes health bars completely. You don't know how close you are to victory, so every fight is very intense. You just keep going, pushing yourself to stay consistent until you see the mission accomplished. Even outside of hardcore, much of the atmosphere keeps you tense. The bosses rarely give you downtime, their combos are long, their designs tower over you, and the soundtrack refuses to let you relax. The intense colors and sound cues make each boss feel extremely intense. Even something as simple as the sound effect for healing. Compare the healing sound for Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro to Khazan. While Dark Souls 3 makes the sound feel refreshing, Khazan makes the sound feel like a monster devouring its prey. Every small aspect of this game is designed to make you feel the intensity of the fights. Burst attacks and enemy grabs both have visual and auditory effects, which were designed to both telegraph attacks and heighten the intensity of the fight. And the soundtrack is amazing. It's not just background noise, it's part of the fight. Throughout this video, I've been playing the soundtrack of different bosses. You can feel the intensity. The sound design also trains you. Reflections and burst attacks become second nature because you start reacting to those audio cues as much as the visual ones. That constant intensity makes every win feel amazing. I still remember the rush of dopamine when I beat bosses like Maluka or Scalpel. It wasn't just another mission accomplished. It felt like I had accomplished something special. This game also features its art very well, with a showcase at the beginning of every main area, including the name of the area and a pan out to see the full extent of what you are about to explore. It builds expectations while showcasing each beautiful area. So why do I think Khazan stands above other Souls-likes? Because it's a game that refuses to compromise. Most games in this genre give you ways to grind, cheese, or outlevel challenges. Khazan doesn't. It demands mastery. You have to learn reflections, burst attacks, combos, and staggers. There's no other way forward. And that's what makes every victory so satisfying. It's also special because it feels fresh. Where other games lean on tropes, Khazan keeps surprising you. The boss designs are unique, the mechanics push you out of your comfort zone, and every playthrough feels different because of weapon and set variety. And maybe most importantly, it's a hidden gem. Hardly anyone's talking about it. It's not being shouted about like FromSoft titles, Silksong, or Lies of P, but the quality is absolutely on that level. In fact, Khazan has failed to hit sales numbers, which is a complete tragedy as the game has become my all-time favorite. That combination, fair but brutal design, replayability, intensity, and atmosphere. This is why I think Khazan is one of the best Souls-likes ever made, and why you absolutely have to play this game. So if you're looking for a Souls-like that isn't afraid to challenge you, that respects your time by forcing you to master its mechanics, and that delivers some of the most rewarding boss fights in gaming, Khazan is that game. It's not just underrated, it's a masterpiece, and I cannot recommend it enough. Thank you for watching, and see you in the crevice.